Well, it's another episode of Raising the Grade, and today I have Trace Walters with me with Walters Renovations. Thank you for joining us.
Of course. Thanks for having me on.
We're getting right into it. I didn't even realize we're starting right now.
Yeah, let's do it.
But so thank you so much for making time. It was kind of like, I don't know how to say this, but it was almost refreshing. Like somebody's as busy as me, you know, it was hard to get you in here. And and I get it. It's like, oh, I got this thing and then these customers and then this pushed and this moved. And so thank you for getting in here.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, right? There's
Mhm.
a lot of that in this industry, construction. We were
Mhm.
talking about it before. It
Yeah.
can be a task in and of itself, a job in and of itself, just dealing with people
Mhm.
and things in life. So
Yeah, no, most definitely. Yeah, I know down on the couch earlier, it was kind of, some of it was like, we'll save that for the podcast. And some of it was like, yeah, let's not do that on the podcast.
let's leave
you
this
know,
part
too.
out. Yeah.
I try to kind of like lean into everybody right out of the gate and ask them a tough question if you haven't, thought about it. But who is Trace Walters?
Who am I? Well, first off, thank you for having me on here. This is pretty cool. Rising Tide Landscapes
fun,
logo. Huh? Yeah, this has been a cool experience. We're here in Tempe. So yeah, thanks for that. But me,
Nice sidestep, by the way. You bought like good 15 seconds there to think of the answer.
No, so I'm born and raised in Kansas City, Missouri, just outside of it in a lake town. Grew up on like 35, 40 acres of land,
Man.
4-wheelers. We had a big pond, fished a lot. It was very much like kind of the
That's
rural
awesome.
creek, like stream that went through my backyard.
I grew up
It
on
was
a
like,
creek. Wasn't that awesome?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because as a kid, I was always like, oh, I wish I lived in a neighborhood. All my buddies get to go to their friend's house and play or do whatever. And I was like, I'm stuck here.
Mm-hmm.
But looking back is like the best
Yeah.
childhood ever. And had two parents that loved me, loved the Lord, and raised me well. But I didn't always listen to them. I was a little bit of a
imagine that.
I was a little bit of a troublemaker growing up, which there's a lot of stuff I regret, but a lot of it was just, part of my journey to becoming who I am now.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
and that kind of segued into, I went to college. What brought me into Phoenix was I went to college at Grand Canyon University, and my parents, they said, well, if we're going to help you, pay for college and do that whole thing, it's got to be a private and Christian university. Yeah. And so I immediately
Can't
was like,
go to Berkeley.
I was like, what's the biggest, what Christian college has the most people? And GCU, it was like GCU and Liberty University. And I was like, Arizona sounds better. So that was my extent of, came out here, and my original background was like, I was going to be in technology. I was going to be in SaaS. I was in like the venture capital and seed raising world and like club at GCU.
Wow.
Where startups were coming in with like tech startups, SaaS platforms. And
what is SaaS? I've heard it.
Software as a service.
Okay,
So like, I mean, anything. Your Wix online is a software that helps you build websites. That's the service. It's a SaaS. So it's like a sexy term for that.
Okay,
but
cool. For paying money monthly for something.
Yeah, exactly.
That's SaaS.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So I was doing a lot of like due diligence. I was getting into the nitty gritty, comparing spreadsheets, looking at balance sheets and income statements and projections and their market size. And it was very much like technical and research based. And I thought it was really cool.
Were you loving it while you were doing it?
I thought it was cool because it's like startup world. It's like you're getting to see the cutting edge technology and like stuff that people are coming up with or inventing or whatever. And you get to, kind of poo it and be like, nah, dude, like this isn't a good idea, like for XXX reason. Or, hey, this could really make a lot of money because all these things. So that was my job to like look at the company, and then I would present to the investors.
Now you're saying job. I heard school get mixed in there. Did you leave school and got hired and did some of that like on a payroll, or were they approaching like the students and asking for this help sort of?
So GCU has this thing. It's called Canyon Ventures or Canyon Angels, excuse me. Without getting too far into it, it's basically a group of investors, high net worth individuals, older guys that funnel all the deals and startups that are raising money. They would apply to us as like a firm.
That's so cool.
And so the students, kids, us were basically fielding all the applications, and then I would. It was a job because I was hired on as the student director, and then I was also doing an internship for another firm that's in Scottsdale. So it was all kind of like my junior, senior year of college, whenever just really starting to mix like work and school. And so, and that was the world I was in. And
what prompted the exit, or what happened? Like, how did it go from, cause like I see dollar signs, I see a guy that's excited about a thing. And then all of a sudden you're, doing giant construction projects. What the heck?
Yeah, it was quite the shift. I mean, gosh, I guess I just got to really go through. I've had a lot of changes in the last 3-4 years. So that was, originally I thought that's what I was going to do. I was going to be a founder of, an app, a startup, some sort of service, something like that. I had an idea. I was very much in the financial world, like investing and stuff like that, and that was like kind of my niche. And it was the same time as like the GameStop and like the pandemic, and
insane.
And so I was just like, wow, this is what I was like, this is what the stock market is like. And got super into it, and then realized afterwards, okay, that was most of the time the stock market just kind of doesn't do anything.
A little bit of a crazy town there.
And so I was like super stoked about it, and then it kind of, the hype died down, and I was less stoked about it. And then I got a job, my first paying job out of college for a startup, which it was an app that was like Robinhood for investing, but it was like tailored to girls and kids, like like it made it really easy to understand.
It's like sports betting now. I feel like anybody can go sports bet and they don't even have to know anything.
It was very much like low barrier to entry, and I was making content for them. I was like recording my face.
This is where it comes from.
Yeah,
your stuff on Instagram is insane. I love it. So
that was it's still out there, probably on TikTok.
Oh boy, we're all gonna go find it
somewhere. No, but so that's it. It was about investing. It was about people in the stock market. It's about the app and all that stuff. And then the hype just really died, and I was just staying in front of a computer for a long time. There's a lot of, in that world, there's a lot of like uncertainty. Like I don't necessarily even know what to work on, type of thing.
Wow.
Because there's this constant battle of they're trying to raise money and they're trying to build out more product.
We need a little bit more so we can do this other feature so that we can present and get more. And it's kind of,
Exactly.
I can see that as a vicious cycle.
And what kind of drew me to construction is I've always been building, like since I was a kid. I'm a skateboarder. So I built like this huge half pipe in my backyard growing up, and was like building ramps and just all sorts of stuff.
Forts, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. I remember I told my parents I was going to build a pool because it was the same time they were getting their pool built. And I told them I was going to build a pool, and I would just,
it's so fun.
And I just dug and dug and dug and dug this huge hole.
And did you fill it with water?
No, never got to that. It fizzled. It fizzled. Okay. I would have my dad come out and try to, I'd be like, Dad, come help me dig the pool. He'd be like, he would come out. Yeah, he would come out every once in a while and dig.
A+ for Dad.
Ended up just getting filled in, I think, because it was muddy or anyway. But besides, so I always grew up building, and then in college I was lucky enough to purchase a home with a buddy that was a big time fixer upper, but it was right by GCU, right by the college. And we were like, okay, we can rent this out to our buddies while we're fixing it, pay for the mortgage, do that whole dance. And we did, and it worked. And that's where I kind of realized I like this. I was doing that hand in hand while I was working the startup kind of thing. That was like my more of like hobby.
Side gig.
Yeah. And then started realizing you can actually make money doing it, and was starting. Yeah. And then finally was just like, you know what? I can't sit at a computer anymore. It was like a few months, and I just got out of 3.5, 4 years of college, and COVID was smack in the middle of that. So I was just staring at a computer for like 4 years straight. And awful. I was like, I gotta get out of here. And so that's then transferred me into Walters Renovations, which has had its whole starting and trajectory in and of itself. But yeah, I guess that was long-winded.
Have you been? No, this is
Long-winded
this is exactly why you're
who
here,
I
bro. Walters Renovations. So you do this whole dance. So you come out here for college and you stick around, and you're in the middle of COVID. So we're not talking too long ago when you get started. You haven't broke 30 yet, right? You're still
I'm 23.
You're a young buck. You're not 23.
Yeah, I'm 23. Turned 24 in January.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're doing really well. I'm really happy to see it.
Thank you.
It's so fun to watch. Yeah. I don't know if I knew all the days of the week at 23. I'm just thinking. Yeah. No, that's fantastic. So what do you think you love the most about what you do now? So now you're in it all the way. What is the high side, low side? We used to play a game at the dinner tables, like best part of your day, worst part of your day.
Highs and lows.
Yeah.
Highs and lows of the job.
Yeah.
There's the highs. There's a lot of highs. I mean, nothing beats a finished product.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing beats final payment, cash in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing beats a client or a lead that comes to you and is really excited
Mm-hmm.
and like has been, watching your stuff or seeing you for a while, either on Instagram or whatever, and is like, yeah, I'm finally ready to go in on it. Those feelings are great. The marketing is fun. We talked about social media, like all that stuff. The content is fun. It can be a drag at sometimes because you're like, now I've started it. Like, I can't just go a month without posting anything because then it's like, oh, this guy fell off. He couldn't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, I'm feeling the pain right now.
Yeah, that's a high, man. All the collaboration, but I just like I like the building.
Mm-hmm.
That's what originally drew the job to me, is working with my hands and getting to put things together. It's like I always compare construction and like. It's like setting up the game Mousetrap. Like, you got all these different pieces, the ladder goes here, this goes here, but in certain things you have to put in before, slide it up this other thing before this thing. Like, that's all construction is, with like your plumbing or irrigation or whatever. You're just putting the pieces in place and making sure everything's in working order. Yeah. And that's why I liked it more than the startup thing, because it was a lot of, where am I? Like, no, there's nothing to do. Yeah. This is like clear path, start to beginning. But then downsides are dealing with people. We talked a little bit about that, dealing with people who lie and aren't always, the most honest, or
don't show up,
have
ulterior motives. Yeah.
Leave a job like 95% finished and then expect you to do little things like hook up the sprinkler timer. It's like, dude, I paid you to do this job, and why are you like trying to run out? And then like big sigh when they have to finish their job. I'm like, what?
People.
But that's also the good part about it, because you meet a lot of cool people like yourself
it's
and
been so fun,
Jaden and you guys who were at Rising Tide. So people, and I don't really know any other.
There's not a lot of lows. Like, I mean, honestly, if you're really out there trying to do a great job, like, the lows are way less. And if you've got decent, competent guys, the lows are, most people have a low bar, and we're exceeding our expectations regularly.
Right.
I mean, and I think we do a fantastic job. From what I've seen, I think you do a fantastic job. I really think that it's almost difficult. Like, something's got to go a little bit honky in order to really displease somebody, if you're really trying hard,
right?
Yes, they're out there though. I mean, there's people that just you're never gonna please them. It doesn't matter what happens. I've had, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients since I've been in the Valley, and I can count on one hand the ones that, like, you almost wish you didn't get the job, because you knew in the pit of your stomach how this was going to turn out, no matter what you did.
Yeah.
But those are few and far between.
Yeah. I think the other, being slow, that's another, like, you try to be thankful for being slow and not necessarily having any work, or there's no hot leads coming in, and that's easy, especially in the like beginning. You're under 1 year in, I'm under 1 year in. It's a very much like, you have to go from 0 to 100 basically instantaneous, like from the moment you create your business and like decide you're going to start paying your bills this way, like you're then like, okay, now I got to have back to back jobs lined up and booked out. And it's just not how, not how it works at all. And I originally thought when I first started Walters Renovations, I was just doing handyman, like hanging. I had this one client, this one elderly woman. She ended up being like horribly racist and like all these bad things. I don't work for her.
Bizarre.
That's a whole nother story.
Wow.
But I was
no, that's for now. No, I'm just kidding.
But my buddy, who's a realtor, sold her this house, new build. So she needs all the things, ceiling fans installed. He's like, oh, my buddy, it's handy. He'll do it for you. Okay. So for like a month, I was at this lady's house. Like I'd work kind of in the day on like a bigger remodel or something like that, and go to hers and do, hang up photos and stuff like that. And she had one of those new build backyards that had nothing but graded dirt. And I was like, hey, are you ever gonna do your backyard, whatever?
This is great.
Immediately she was like, yeah, I mean, I've gotten some quotes for around whatever, 10 grand. And I was just like, oh, I could do it for that for sure. Instantly went YouTube, how to install irrigation system, how to do turf, what do I need, rented all the compactor, the power broom,
this is
and
awesome.
Like rented everything. Walkway. There's somewhere deep on my Instagram, there's like a time lapse of me stacking these
at that job,
these pavers.
Okay, cool.
And did it solo with some help from like some of my other buddies that came and like shoveled quarter minus. But
those are good buddies.
Yeah, for $18 an hour or something like that. And so that was me like, okay, I'm not going to do the handyman stuff or work myself anymore. It was, and also realizing there's a lot of crews and laborers that do landscape, specifically pavers and turf.
So many
in this valley. There is a lot. Yes, there is a lot. And so I was like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. And I thought it was just going to be back to back to back, just like I had kind of experienced before with handyman jobs. Like I would always just, another one would kind of fall in. I'd be like, oh, this is what happens when you start this business. Like you always get provided for. And then you start going after the higher ticket jobs, and it's not like that at all.
A little different game,
So I learned that, did the whole knocking doors thing, and landed in my next biggest job in her neighborhood, this other elderly couple. Okay. I think the elderly folks are a good target for door knocking because they're not really on Facebook. They don't know. They'll take a chance on a young lad.
And they have time. They're willing to talk. They're not like so rushed, like, oh, I got to get back on my Zoom call. It's like they're still in this era that we actually talk to people.
That's so true.
I
didn't think about that.
I think you would be an epic door knocker. You might have missed your calling. I can literally see you nailing it.
Dude, whenever I was first doing it.
You could teach a class, I think.
For like a week. That's how long I lasted door knocking.
It's
one
hard.
full week, but I was doing it 8 hours a day, bring my lunch.
Yeah.
I was targeting neighborhoods that were
like
the
commitment.
New builds. I have videos of me. I would mic myself up, put like the tripod in the street and go knock doors and like.
I'm finding all of these.
Yeah.
These are going to be great.
So that's originally thought. It's just crazy what you think you're going to. I originally thought, I'm like, oh, I'm going to close all these huge deals from door knocking, go viral. Like it's just not at all.
I've been there.
How it works.
Honestly, I love your honesty because like I'm just nodding going, I'm old. I'm like 45, 46, and it's like I totally been there, done that where I thought, this is going to be a walk in the park, but like it's a war out here.
It really is. And there's a lot of guys there. I mean, this in just landscape construction in general, especially just in Arizona, because we're so close to Mexico. There's a labor force of, I was at Home Depot on Thomas today, and
that's the one.
There was probably almost 100 guys in high vis, yellow or orange or whatever, looking for work. So there is, now the quality is a different story, but there's, as far as regulation, it's not California, like things can be, there's not a whole bunch of red tape, like, so there's a lot of people, there's a low barrier to entry, I guess is what I'm saying. Like as long as you get some tools.
It's fascinating out here. I'm coming from Oregon, and it's just like I could be turning everybody in left and right in Oregon, and they would be getting shut down. And out here, it's kind of like, yeah, it's Arizona. It's just a looser environment.
Yeah.
I will say. You kind of made me think of another question as you were going down that road of it's a war out here. There's so many people. There's so much competition. What do you see Walters Renovations doing maybe a little bit different than the next guy, or maybe better than the next guy? Like, let's be honest here. We all are trying to win business. I mean,
Right.
Even I think this conversation, somebody are going to look at this and go, wait, why are you having him on? You guys are competitors. But I really, truly believe there's enough work out there for everybody. And I really do want the good guys to win.
Right.
So what are you doing a little bit different? Maybe on the design side, or maybe on the application side, or customer interaction. Is there something that you think of that comes to mind?
There's a lot of stuff that I try to do different. And I think the thing that we definitely align on, and the number one thing, and this is the advice that I heard from all of my parents' friends, my wife's parents, everybody who has been through contractors, they're like, just do what you say what you mean. Like,
that could
show
be
up on
a
time.
tagline. We actually show up,
Literally. Like, they're like, as long as you just are open and honest and communicate, and like,
worth its weight in gold.
Literally,
communication, I think, it gets you out of jams. It also just, helps you set clear expectations.
Yeah.
I mean, if you I've ran into a scenario where we were talking about this, I'll shield this, but basically somebody didn't show up, right? All I needed was a little communication. It wasn't the end of the world.
Right.
It would have been really nice.
Yeah. I think, a lot of that. And there's a lot of, it's just a shady industry. Like,
Isn't that so sad?
Construction, and just, I think every industry is shady. Construction, I think, but like we were talking about, because of the low barrier to entry, it's more shadiness.
It's got the potential.
Yeah.
More potential. It's funny. I was talking about this on a podcast, and it made it on my Instagram, where we took over a job for a guy that took some folks, and today I'm at my BNI meeting, and I'm talking to an electrician that I think I'm going to switch to. And he's like, yeah, my stepdad got took for, $200K, and I know you're on a job where once bitten, twice shy, so It's just like, it's everywhere out there. I want people to go check me out. Go look at my ROC number. Go look at the, ACC, look me up, look at my Google reviews. Like, let's talk about it.
I think in people, I used to think that like, oh, they have a contractor's license. Okay, boom, they're good to go. But that is not at all. Everybody preaches that. Like,
You're right.
Make sure they have an ROC number. But every single person that or company who have taken advantage of a homeowner were licensed, bonded, and insured.
How do you get around it then?
Because
what are some?
No,
I'm saying, what's the fix? What's the fix?
The fix is you choose contractors who post on Instagram. That is the fix, because this is why
I like this. Like, where are you going here?
Back to the original prompt question of what are you trying to do to stand out? It's pretty hard to fake Instagram and stories and like consistently.
Wait a minute. I was gonna say, I thought that was the point of Instagram. I'm teasing, but like, you know what I mean, right?
Like but like,
I'm joking.
No, but. Everybody know, like, you can clearly tell if it's not somebody's, like, if I tried to walk on some other guy's job site and act like it was mine and be like, this is what we're doing, like, people are going to sniff that from a mile away. And so I think Instagram is the biggest tool that you can use, and not all good. I'm not saying every single good contractor is posting on Instagram. No. But if you follow me or you guys for a week, you're going to see consistent story posts of exactly what I'm doing, explaining why I ran the electrical conduit this way and why it has to be rated this way in this kind of box because it's exterior. And I've heard clients actually tell me they like watching my Instagram when I'm on their project because it's like this behind the scenes sort of experience.
My
they get to live and
loved it.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, most of them, I agree.
They get to live and know, like, okay, that's why he's doing that. This is that extra, which a lot of clients, it's lost on them because it's all behind the scenes, but there's actually so much thought and
Amen.
things that go into just every detail of a project, no matter what it is, that the homeowner would never conceptualize.
Never see. Like, it's done, and they're never going to see.
Exactly.
You know, that you actually went down 22 inches. So by the time you put the gas line in, it's 18 when you're done,
Exactly.
or blah, blah, blah. But, you know.
all those little things that go into it. And I've used Instagram has been like my sole lead gen, like Instagram and word of mouth has been where all of my, referrals has been where all of my work is came from. And it's kind of, I think it's more important than a website at this point, because it's not just photos. People can fake a website. You can pull stock images from some other and fake a website, but Instagram, you're talking, your face is on camera, like you have to commit to it. And if you're going to commit to Instagram in that way, you better back it up with the work, or else like it's gonna get sniffed out real quick.
Yeah.
Like,
it's funny, I don't know how to say this without gloating. It's not gloating, but
go ahead. You've earned it.
I just want to say it. Like, so this guy about a week ago calls me. He's like, I got to work for you. And I'm like, okay. Was kind of taken aback, and he's like, well, I want to get outside and I want to work with my hands, so I Googled hardscaping near me and you came up. And so I looked at your website and I was like, oh, well, that's what everybody says. So then I went to your Instagram. I'm like, I've seen that before. And then he's like, and then I stumbled across your podcast, and I'm like, this guy can't keep faking it.
Wow.
I'm in. So I think it proved that point you're making of like, look, it's got to be congruent. Like there are, you can kind of fake it on the website. Like there's a bunch of people, like, especially out West, I feel like they have decent webs out West Valley. Yeah. Decent websites, but they're, licensed and bonded, or, they're in and they're gone. They've been here and now they know more,
Yeah. And I think being new too, it's like, that's a good like indicator, to be honest. And that's not necessarily the best, but just being honest for us, less than a year in, that's like the first thing people are like, if I have if I was a homeowner, I'd be like, okay, if I have a warranty item a year and a half from now, like, is he still going to be around? Like, is the track rate versus this company, 30 years in the Valley, been building pools, doing whatever. They got a brick and mortar, like they ain't going anywhere type of thing. So I'd see as like a homeowner, that's one of the things too.
People are taking risks on us. Don't kid yourself. And I love it. It's been part of our story, honestly, is, hey, we're doing a family business. You're doing a family business, put your money on us. We want to grow. And also it's part of the reason why I charge what I charge. I want to have money in the bank, and I want to be here in 5 years, so that 5-year workmanship guarantee is going to mean something to you. You're going to call me and I'm going to come and I'm going to fix it. We're not going to do it 100% of the time. We're not robots, and even they screw up. But my point is, like, my biggest excitement is going to be on year 4 when somebody had a little bit of paver settling and they're like, hey, I'm like, you got it. We'll be there,
sir.
We're coming.
I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm there with a bag with some quarter minus in my pocket, and we're going to sprinkle it, get those pavers level. Yeah, I think definitely. But there's like catch up that we have to play. And a lot of is like the social media and the social proof. People want to see it. I mean, customer testimonials, like people talking about your business is one of the biggest things. And it's like one of the most uncomfortable sometimes too, to be like a client. Especially for me, I feel some awkward because I've had some clients that are like well off, wealthy, older, they're nearing retirement in their late 60s, mid 60s. They're in a beautiful house, and it's like, do you mind me like interviewing you? Here's a mic, by the way, like for my social media, like, so yeah, it could kind of get awkward.
Well, I love that you're doing it. I mean, there's so many things that, like, I think there's a lot of barriers to business. And I think that's one of them, actually, is being comfortable, being uncomfortable, and being willing to make decisions and then go with them, because it's kept me, I'm so proud of you for being so young and just being like, yeah, we're going to do it, because there's a level of that. Like, you have to just decide to do it at some point. And then you just start putting one foot in front of the other. And before you know it, it's been 5 years.
I probably have some, it's probably a little bit of delusion because I seriously look at these other companies who have a staff of out the rear end and all, huge budget, and I see the projects they're doing, the homes they're building, whatever. I'm like, I could do that right now with me as who I am. Like and maybe that's not probably totally true, but I feel like, I really feel like that's not so far away. And I see these people who run these other companies and I'm like, they're the same as me. They're just a person who
it's making a decision to do it, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's half the battle. And you're right. I mean, I think I've worked for many business owners, and I think now I can say we are all a little delusional. You kind of have to be. You kind of have to have this belief in yourself that maybe not even, your family really has to the level that you have, if I'm being honest. And I think the more that now that the algorithm's got a hold of me, I'll get fed more and more, where I'm really cautious there. But I do hear that a lot of like, just do it, make a decision and run with it. And you kind of have to have faith in yourself when maybe, somebody else might say, I don't know, this isn't a really good idea, Trace. Have you thought about going back to that SaaS you were going to do? Or do you know what I mean? Like,
dude, another reason why I did this was out of also kind of like necessity. I was applying for jobs like that. Going back to when we were talking, I was like half in with this paid internship, making content for this app that was up and coming, not making any money yet. And I was doing my own, remodel or whatever. And I was applying to other startups. I was getting referrals. Interview after interview. I was this close. I was like on the final interview to getting like my Series 65 license to be a financial advisor and work for Robinhood as a customer service. I was like one step away from doing that, and then just kept getting no. The only jobs I could get were like restaurant jobs. I'm like, I'm worth more than freaking $20 an hour or what, I'm like, I have more to offer than that. And it was kind of just like, okay, this money is out there. Other people can get it, or I can go get it for myself because apparently nobody wants to hire me and give me the money. And so I was like, I guess I just got to go straight to the source and convince.
I'm making this word picture in my mind. Like there's this money there. And there's just a couple guys going, no, sorry, Trace. And then you just kind of like walk around and you're like, oh, that was easy.
Yeah. Like I feel like so many people, and I did this too, especially out of college, like kids fresh out of college, they see it's like the only way to get money is to get it from these other business owners who are, but where are they getting it from? They're getting it from the consumer. So why not bypass homie that's taking some off the top? It's a lot harder. That's why most people don't own a business, but it's there.
It's not all roses, folks.
Exactly. Like it's there. I can just go. It's the definition of a competitor. Like I can just, I just compete with them.
It's an entrepreneur, because so many dudes that I've come across in my whole life are excellent craftsmen. They're not businessmen, they don't want to be, because admit it, dude, there's a ton of stress that goes along with being a business owner. Maybe not for you, for me.
No, yes.
Versus like clocking in, turn the phone off at 5 and, we're going out to a movie, we're watching football, whatever. And you can be diligent about those things, but at some level, at least I'm kind of always on, so to speak,
And that's the thing is like, who's really more free? Somebody said that, I don't know. I heard it off some podcast or something, but who's more free? The people who can shut the laptop at 5, like you're talking about, because everybody entrepreneurship, they're like, oh, you go golf on Tuesday, don't you? I'm free. Which that part is awesome too. Like if I want to go play golf,
this is fair,
with a buddy Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. All of my other friends are clocking in and have to be somewhere, and I can kind of do that and answer my phone, and I get to decide. That is definitely worth it. But the working till 10 p.m. and like 16 hour days.
Okay, it's not just me.
Is so real. Yeah.
You hear that, honey?
No, yeah. To my wife as well. Yeah, I get a lot of why are you still working? Like it's 8 p.m. I'm like, I'm sorry.
I get it. Like, are you alive?
Yeah.
Well, we are doing it for a reason. And I think that, so entrepreneur, I think with that comes visionary. Like in my mind, like I can look like 5 years down the road and I'm like, yep, that's why I did it, and I'm just now starting to kind of bring on, those people that I think are going to start wearing some of those hats for me. And I kind of have a plan for the next 6 months and the next year to kind of just be like, yeah, okay, you take that and you take that and you take that. I do want to get into, start to kind of take some steps back a little bit because it's too much.
So we've talked about Dan Martell before, but you're building the machine. You're right now building.
You have to come by my shop.
You're building the machine.
After this, we're going there.
That runs the machine.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're trying to figure out who and what does that look like? Does that mean crews in the field, obviously, salespeople, admin? What is like the org kind of structure? What do you?
You're nailing it. No, that is it. It's basically SOPs. Right. So standard operating procedures. So just hired an office manager. She's going to be a rock star. SOPs are her love language. This is fantastic. Already I'm like, oh, that's cool. She's already got this done and this done and this done. And this is insane. I didn't know this was possible. My nephew, military background, just very cross every T, dot every I. There's, contingency books so that like if, she goes on vacation, he can open a book to page 375 and go, yep, here's how I pay that bill. To that level is where I want to take it eventually so that I think it actually makes everybody's job and life easier in the company because now there's no more like, well, so-and-so said to do it this way. I do it this way and so-and-so does it this way. It's like, nope, Rising Tide Landscapes does it this way.
And then that's how you keep people accountable too. If they mess up and do things like, oh, well, let's look at, is it something I missed? Did I not put it in the SOP?
I did that today actually. And I was like, whoops, we'll fix that. But this is what I want to happen for the next year is like, I followed your SOP and I ended up with, I blew the computer up. I'm like, well, whoops, let's look at that, know? But even today, I was like, oh, I missed that step. So we plugged it in. But that's what I want to be my culture for for infinity. Right. I want, so our SOPs are editable by, multiple people, so that
so practically, what is it? Like a Google Doc,
it's
like
a Google
Word
doc. It's
like
in a shared drive. It's one doc that is going to be all my SOPs. That's just backed up, so that I always have a copy in case somebody's crazy.
You gotta have a master.
Yep. Yeah. But no, I did mention Dan Martell, and it was funny because reading that book really made this feel easy. So how you kind of earlier were talking about how this just seems easy. Like the money's there, I'm gonna go get it. Well, I think nobody necessarily feels that way. I don't know what opened the door for you, but for me, it was in part, I was already doing this. I already made this jump. I was going to force into this jump, but then reading that book made it seem really plausible. So like one of the things he does is he records himself doing the thing that he wants to make an SOP.
Right.
I have company cam. So I made a location for my office and I started doing that. And so it's so awesome. It's so easy. I pulled my first load for my first job that's going to go out in my system, the other day, and I filmed myself doing it. And so now there's no questions. How many emitters does he want to go out? What color? How much drip? How much wire? What's the formula? It's all on there, baby. Wow. So I want that to be really how things go just moving forward, because I think A, I'll be able to scale. B, I'll have a real company that's got more value for lending, or if I ever want to sell, it's sellable. It's an asset. It's not just me doing a thing, just watch the Green Mangoes guy thing, and it was so fascinating, because he had a plan for that. And so, not that I'm looking to sell, I really do want this to be eventually probably an ESOP company or something to that effect. And so we'll see. But I think we're making some progress.
I dig that. I like that.
You are good. I think you got me talking the most out of anybody yet.
Dude, that's just rad, because that's it. Like what we said is like, there's a lot of good craftsmen, and then there's people and then there's the rare bunch that I would like to boastfully say that I might fall somewhere in the middle, but I think that I kind of have the business management sort of leadership skill set, but then also I've been in the field. I've done a bunch of work myself. I love finished detail. I love detail. Like I love how things are built. Like I kind of have this like engineering and like business, I guess, mind, but not too much either way, which I think is what helps me to kind of be different, I guess, stand out a little bit.
It's a rare breed, you know.
Yeah. I guess so.
No, I'm excited to watch you grow because I've mentioned this before, but selling to contractors for 14 years of my life back in Oregon, I found that guys were either great craftsmen or great businessmen. And the great businessmen would like really get the best price out of you generally, but they would order the wrong material, you know, and the craftsman would order all the right materials exactly down to the nail, but maybe, you know, they weren't watching the bottom line. So they got charged a little bit more, you know, and so then it's this rare breed that's a little bit of both. And so I think that makes the really successful, long-standing companies, because you got to watch your money, but you've also got to do good work.
And you have to have a standard. Yeah, you have to have a standard. And a lot of people, that's normally like the perfect partnership. You normally have a guy that sells, and like basically every company I know that's like two buddies or acquaintances, somebody go in on it. One guy is the field guy. Don't ask him to type on a computer. He'll pick up his phone. Maybe he'll text you back.
He's calling you, not texting you.
Right. Yeah. He's in the field, and then there's the guy that's actually going, you know,
in the computer
and doing estimates, like all of that stuff. And I was just like, well, I'm me, and I don't necessarily know somebody that can do both. So I got to play both of those roles. And I love both of those roles. And sometimes I'm like, dude, I just want to be in the field. I don't care. That estimate can go out tomorrow. And some guys will probably be like, no, dude, you got to be, because I hear that a lot, like get estimates out quick, like, which is true. Like you have to get, you don't, no estimate, no work.
Yep.
But I like that I can just be like, dude, I'm going in the field today. I'm going to go run this conduit and, go to Home Depot and just have a day like that. Like that was kind of my day today. Like,
oh, it's a good day.
Yeah. So, and I was like, I'm not doing any design. I'm not going to do anything on my laptop. And that's what, like, ultimately why I think I love the work and being my own boss, is because it's like I'm still being productive, but I get to choose what I'm being productive on, you know?
I don't know. Yeah, I am excited to get back out in the field a little bit more. Actually, that's another reason why I'm maybe putting in so many hours now, and I have this vision of SOPs and having, you know, I really want to have specialists, you know, so, and instead of just kind of like bunch of jack of all trades, I really want like everybody having really specified roles, you know. I just think that works better for everybody, because then there's no, you know, there's not, I mean, you got to know what everybody's doing. You got to know the whole game plan, but like you're not doing multiple things. So like you get really proficient at what you're doing, you know, instead of having like your sheetrocker be your electrician, be your mason, you know, like you've got a sheetrocker, you've got an electrician, you've got a mason. Why not have the same thing in your business, you know?
Right.
That's what I'm thinking. We'll see how it works out. But
send those to me. No,
what are some, come on by, man. Open book, man. I think that, you know, one of the things too, I think that was in that Martell book was basically like, why hoard knowledge? Why hoard? If something's working for you, great. Especially if it's a guy you think is a good guy and going to do people right. Like, come on by. Let's do it, you know?
Dude, that's another one of those things with like social media we talk about. Like, I've heard a buddy of mine is big into social media, coach, teaching business owners, like, and he helped me a lot with just like strategy and how to go about, you know, what do you post? And he says it's selfish of you to not share your story and like sharing where you got, doing what we're doing now. Like it's selfish to not share knowledge, just like you're saying, hoarding knowledge, to not share your story with other people who could potentially gain, you know, knowledge, a way out. Maybe they're in that position now, how to avoid that position, like whatever it is. It's kind of like this duty that almost you can kind of feel it that way. It's this duty that you have to to share what you've experienced. And a lot of people see it as just like, oh, this guy's could be like he's flexing or he's bragging about all he's done, or it could be,
you're so
could be the
right.
opposite. So
I've always been a kind of a shy guy, honestly, to some degree, or I guess, I don't know, timid or humble, or just maybe like, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah. Thanks for that. Like I never liked accolades when I was younger. Like I didn't want my parents to come to my games, or I never wanted to be watched, but I wanted to go do the thing and I wanted to do the best at it. Like, I would always show up for my team, but I didn't necessarily want a medal. You know what I mean? And so it is hard to do this kind of thing, even for me, because although it probably seems like it, like I'd rather just have work and go to work, and then, and we're good, I think this is, as I was starting out, I really made a big investment and decision to just go with this off really just what a hunch was, a little bit of research, and then just the vibe I was picking up that, look, Instagram, YouTube, podcast, long form stuff, getting into the details and behind the scenes, that's where things are going, instead of like just TikTok, 5 seconds, right. What are your thoughts on that?
I think, dude, I'm all for that. I love the process. I love there is a lot of, and that's kind of what's sexy out there. Like the guy, I'm sure you've heard of Foxterra. They're like the only landscape designers that have millions or 1 million followers, or like the one that everybody follows. Yeah, everybody follows them. Yeah. And they're very much like snap, transition, backyard goes from dirt to $5 million backyard.
They're gorgeous.
Not everybody can do that. And so I think, and actually the majority of people can't do it. So how they can provide value, how we can provide value, I think is getting more into the details and explaining the process. Like I feel like the guys that sometimes do the best are just the straight up like how to, like, and I've seen that work too, like
best on socials.
Social the best on socials that then probably helps them convert to paying customers is because they're showing how to do it. They're not out there. Like there's a saying from somebody, maybe it was Martell, I don't know, just to credit everything to
sure, yeah.
But
he came up with the Pythagorean theorem.
Yeah. But he said something like, if you're not nervous about how much knowledge you're giving away about your certain business, whatever it is you do, then you're probably not giving away enough. So he's like, share all the knowledge you have and sell the implementation, right? So I feel like the guys that do the best is they're showing, hey, this is exactly how I changed this hose bib on, this is how I soldered the copper and did this, or if this is leaking, change the, this is how you change the nut on top of a whatever, this will save you $300. You don't have to call a plumber. Like guys like that, I feel like those are the ones that people appreciate. Your average person appreciates. And then when they have something that's legit, they're like, I don't want to do this myself. Yep. Boom. They know they're going to call that guy because he's provided value to them before and they know he can do the job. Again, social media. Hire your contractor from social media. I mean, come on.
I like that. I think I'm going to pick up on my behind the scenes game a little bit more. Yeah. Like, cause we're pretty much, we're so new. Like, honestly, I don't know what to film. We just started doing stuff. I swear. We just started that's how it started. Let's try this, and I just got in my inbox, some virals that I'm scared to open. Like they want us to do them. I'm like, okay, here we go.
Like other inspo, like other people where you got to put your own spin on it. Yeah. Well, that's
this dance or whatever.
That's a good question. Then how did you start the Instagram? Did you just for me, it was basically made the decision. This is what I'm going to do. I got to start filming content. Had a few ideas that weren't very good, but I was like, better than nothing. Went out, filmed them, edited them myself, posted them, and then just kind of kept going. Or did you have a strategy? Like, did you get a backlog of videos and like, okay, I'm going to post once a week, or like?
So with the YouTube and the podcast, I'm doing that. I have a backlog, and praise God for it, because it's like, I don't have, like, it's not so stressful. Instagram, not so much. But I did, basically going into Instagram, I knew that I didn't know what I was doing. And so I knew I needed a specialist. So to that specialist point, I hired a specialist, and they're freaking awesome. I think they do a fantastic job.
I love your guys' stuff.
And I love them. They're good dudes. They're really fun to work with. And so that was my strategy, is trust somebody else who knows what they're doing. And so like this nugget is really bittersweet, but it's like, I generally tend to go into things trusting people, see how it goes. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But more times than not, if I, have a good vibe on them, I've seen some of their stuff, I found them on Instagram. So I had my daughter help me open up an Instagram account. And then, that came across my feed really not too long after, honestly. Mm-hmm. And so it was kind of providential. I was like, well, let's see. And so I'm like, wow, that's really good. And I'm like, so how much is this? Is this like 50 grand a month or something? And it was within our budget. It's, I think all content, you can make the argument, well, you could do that, but I can't.
You do it for free.
But I can't.
Right?
You can. I can't. I don't have the wherewithal. I tried, and it wasn't that good. It wasn't that good. I tried to get friends to help me and stuff. And one nugget is like, you got to pay people. Like friends that come along and want to do it for free. Like, that's the level of quality you're going to get. Not that they couldn't do it, but like, they're just helping you, honestly. Right. And it's not a dig on them, because I love them for that. But at the end of the day, you kind of ultimately, to some degree, I think, get what you pay for. I think in our trades, that's fairly valid. There's guys doing pavers for $6 a foot. You don't want those pavers in a year. You might want them right now. They might look really pretty, but you don't want them in a year. Because of that. But the strategy was just me seeing that this was probably working for people. Matter of fact, I think I saw your stuff like 6 months ago. I must have saw your stuff right after you came out, because it came across my feed, and
all you have to do is boost
probably a year ago.
Just boost the post. Are the guys that you hired? They
what
knew all that
I'm
stuff?
going to copy your posts. No.
Do it, dude.
No,
I just copied other people. That's all social media is. Like, you copy and put your own spin.
Yeah, you spin it.
It's all art.
It is.
All art
it is
marketing
to a large extent. But I remember seeing you in goggles, like, had to be like 9 or 10 months ago. But I remember showing my wife, I'm like, look at this guy. This is like something I would do, because I think I'm getting old,
that,
because I'm burning like the same things over and over on my podcast. But back in Oregon, we did some creative things that were goofy to get a little bit of attention and have some fun. I don't know if I answered your question or just rambled.
What's the future? Do you guys want to keep just doing kind of social media? Obviously, you want to continue to show off the finished product, and you want to do some more behind the scenes stuff. But what else?
As time allows, I really want to get into more of a training vibe, or almost like
have you seen the Hardscape Mentor on Instagram? He's huge on it. He's more like Midwest.
Yeah, there's so many.
They have a different kind of, they're all open grade base, and it's a different kind of game of Hardscape is different on regions. Very much. No. Arizona, because it's so hard. It's like, dude, a couple inches, a quarter minus, you compact that.
Depends on who you talk to.
Yeah, you're right.
You're gonna. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I definitely have my opinions. My PM has his opinions. Other contractors I talk to have their opinions. And it's like, basically, I mean, driveways I'm treating different. Anything that's going to get driven on, I'm treating way different, But for a lot of the pads and patios and stuff, we are using quarter minus. I have just started to bring in ABC in big quantities. So I'm kind of getting...
When you got to bring grade up, like raising the grade.
When we're raising
When you really got to raise the grade, you need your AP in there.
Yeah,
you need your AP.
So
a couple inches, quarter minuses.
Yep, exactly.
You get the job done.
No, I think the future is going to be more, just kind of more educational and behind the scenes and stuff. And what I really want to do sooner than later, and I probably need to talk to these guys, but I somehow want to make plants easier for everybody.
Plants.
So I don't know how that happens, but like I just walked through the Desert Botanical Garden. They have this light show right now, just like 2 minutes from here. Go to that if you haven't gone, or take your missus there. But dude, there's so many. I mean, you can see every cactus variety, every succulent variety, and these cool plants there. So I want to take people on a tour.
Planting. We've talked about that. Plant material is one of the
There's a gazillion of
Oh
them.
my gosh, it's so hard, especially with Arizona. You got to
Yeah.
know what. Yeah, you got to know what can be drought
Mhm.
resistant, but also whenever it gets 40,
Mhm.
41,
Mhm.
it's still got to be able to, like, you see people out there with a little that
Don't let your
cover
ficus
their
freeze. You know.
yeah, exactly, cover their cactus to not let it freeze. Like, there's legit stuff you got to
Mhm.
know. And to be honest, I don't know. I rely on
I've got a
the
specialist.
experts at the plant
I'll be-
nursery, you know, the nursery, and
I feel like that's my role. My role is coach.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I've got a specialist for that. I've got a plant guy. I've got a sales guy. I've got an installer. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's like, yes, I know a little bit about everything, and we need each other. You know, they need me caring about the whole big picture and kind of like moving things around a little bit. But I'm nothing
and they
without
need you
them.
bringing in the work. That's the biggest.
It goes. It's just a team effort.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that is really what I'm trying to build. Is if we're all a team, it works all day long.
Yeah.
It works all day long.
Definitely.
What do you think is in your future, maybe short term, long term? Do you see yourself staying in? Well, you have your GC, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I'm
so
just
you can really
general
do
contractor.
anything. I mean, short of like giant commercial, but like,
Yeah.
do you see yourselves going more towards developing homes, or maybe the whole kitchen, or do you like maybe the outside stuff most? Where are you at?
I don't know. I mean, I would love to do full development eventually. Like right now, I've essentially my original starting out was all interior, bathrooms, plumbing, electrical, drywall, flooring.
Okay.
Feel like I learned, have a good grasp on how a home is built, how it works, proper installation, like all that stuff.
Who did you learn from? Who were you learning from when you're doing all this?
YouTube.
Shut up.
YouTube, and just like, I don't know.
You are 23.
I feel like
this is awesome.
I feel like if you want to remodel a shower, just start swinging a sledgehammer at the tile and ripping it all off, and then be
Now
like,
you sound like my wife. I came home one day and our laundry room's torn apart. She's pregnant. She couldn't take the smell anymore. I'm like, honey, A, you're pregnant, and B, what the heck?
yeah, I guess pregnant ladies are good. Is a good demo crew.
Yeah,
That could be a company.
Oh,
I get a bunch of pregnant ladies.
I don't want to know
to
who
swing a
hires them.
Sledgehammer.
Sorry, I didn't
Them
mean to cut
angry?
you off.
No,
So
but-
you learn from YouTube. You kind of like picked up a lot
Once
of
you
different
strip
things.
stuff down to the studs,
Yep.
like it's not that hard to figure out. Like, okay, what do I put on the walls?
Have you
They
seen
make
it?
cement board.
Yeah.
And you screw it up onto the wall.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure it's level or flush. So use the level. And like all these things, I feel like you just take one step at a time. And that's all I did.
Mhm.
Like
I love that.
genius. But so then I did that. And then.
But then you can watch higher level videos.
Exactly.
Too. Have you seen the there's a tile guy, pretty sure he's out of Canada, but he is everywhere and he's good. I like him.
Is it.
I can almost see his logo right now. I feel like it's a red logo.
Yeah,
It's like
Winnie
that's the guy.
design.
Yeah, I think that's
he posts
the guy.
a lot of stuff. Now he's
I
like
l-
building dude,
Yeah.
I'm so
Yes.
on that side
Yep.
of
I like that guy.
what I used to watch
Mhm.
too, what I was addicted to was time-lapse videos of plumbers
Stop it.
swapping
It's the
sink
worst.
drains.
It's so
and
addictive.
all
Yeah.
of that. And it was literally like, oh, there's a fitting for that. That's how he does that.
Yeah.
So I was
That's
just
why that went so
accumulating
fast. Yeah, you've got this key
social
that goes
media.
up and turns.
Yeah, dude.
Yep.
Like social media was huge in me
You're actually
learning
right. Actually, that's-
everything.
that's why you're able to be where you're at your age. Period. Like that's fantastic.
Because you
outside
got all
of
these
you,
guys have been
but,
doing
like,
it for 30 years.
You get to
Po-
learn it
then
in
post.
2 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah, what a cheat code.
exactly.
Oh, what a
And
significant
everybody's made a
cheat code.
video on everything,
It's
anything
out
and
there.
everything. And if you can't find it, read the manufacturer's installation instructions.
Mhm.
That's all you need. You got a
Mhm.
product, you got a tub spout, you got to hook up on the back of the package. It's going to show you exactly how to freaking do it.
Yeah,
Like,
amen.
And so that's how
So
that's how it went. And then I did, but so I got down the interior, and then it just it just happened. I was like, okay, now we're moving on to exterior. And now I feel like I've really, really, really have a good grasp on exterior and masonry. That was a whole different world to me whenever I was on the interior stuff. You don't work with a lot of block. It's a lot of stud framing and stuff like that. So I introduced the world of block and stucco and grading and compaction and concrete and like all these different, footer sizes, rebar size, like engineering details, that kind of all, how to read plans, like all came
reading plans
later.
It took me a little minute to read plans. Good job.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, again, out of necessity, like this job that this contractor bailed on, there's a full set of plans, and it they have to be read. Like, so I'm like, okay, figure out how, but then the more you figure it out,
there.
Yeah. It's like, back to the game of Mousetrap. It's like, these are the instructions telling me exactly how to put together the finished product, and whether it's to put a trap on a mouse or to have a nice backyard to vibe out for a client, like same process, same.
Great analogy. Going back to that, I'm going to remember Mousetrap. I think that's what we're all trying to build, is the perfect mousetrap.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me your 5-year, 10-year, really quick.
Yeah, so I get what I was saying. I feel like I have a good grasp on interior, exterior. So I would love to, and now I have some casitas, and I'm starting to get into ground up new build stuff that I'm excited about. If everything goes. It's a long, it's a ways with permits and all that fun stuff, but I'm definitely going to go in that direction. I want to get more into pools. And I think like within next year, 2 years, I want to be doing full size backyard, casita, pool, landscape. If there's interior, if it's a scrape, build a house, build the everything, manage the everything, and contract with rising tide, or contract with somebody who specializes in each of those areas, so I can continue to take a step back, not being the PM for myself, but hiring a team that has a PM that they pay for and have trained, and I trust them, and I've seen them work. And so that's like,
okay, cool.
Yeah, that's like my version of kind of stepping back and let everyone else, like I still have my SOPs, and I'm sure not even near to the extent of you, but that's something I lack on. But it's a different kind of
you probably have them.
Hire the guys upstairs that have the SOPs and who have spent the time building that out. And now I pay for them, pay them what they're worth, because they've spent that time and they've, been around the block. And yeah, that's what I think the next few years, 10 years, could not even tell you. I would love to be doing commercial, like just sick. I would love to do restaurants, high-end restaurants.
Cranes involved and stuff. Bulldozers, big boy toys.
Big boy stuff. I would love that. Because, and just hire. We've talked about it before. I love finish detail, tile. I love the different, how things get finished, the material that gets used, how it plays with each other. And that's the most expensive part, right? Like everybody's like, how much is it going to cost? Well, it depends on your finishes, right? I want to do the stuff where it's like, there's no limit to the finishes. You can have a gold toilet. Dude, I want to install a black toilet so bad. They're like $500 for no reason. But I'm just thinking of,
because they make 12 of them.
Yeah. Exactly. But I want somebody to be like, yes, 100%.
I need that black toilet in my life.
And it's going to go so well with all this crazy other stuff in the bathroom and like all that stuff. That's
how fun.
That's
what I black and gold bathroom.
Yeah, dude. Like I just want to build cool stuff, the cooler and the cooler. But I know that I can't get, I don't want to get to the point where it's like, I need more, because 6 months ago, the projects that I'm on now, I'd be blown away.
Good job pacing yourself.
And I know that there's part of me that knows I have to continually, keep shooting for the stars and being convinced that I can build bigger and better stuff. But I also know that once I get to build those things, I'm just going to want more. Innate human nature is we get something, we want it, that we wanted, and then it's like, okay, what's next? And so really, it's really, really hard, but just trying to fall in love with the process and it's not another Martell. It's like, it's not about the destination. It's the climb, right? It's not the view is nice at the top, but then you sit there for,
that was fun.
Yeah. A few minutes and then you go back down. Like that I just want to keep being able to build cool stuff and have fun, and it not turn into like just really work, which I don't think it will, because
as long as you keep that attitude, you're going to be good.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're at the wrap stage. This was so fun. I think I laughed the most and you got me talking the most. Trace, it was such a pleasure to have you on. I really want to say thanks for coming through.
Dude, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. This was fun too. I feel like it was it was natural. It just flowed.
It is. It's
flowing.
Easy. It's not too bad. All right. Well,
hit up Rising Tide Landscape.
Hit up Trace.
Rising Tide Landscape. I get that too because mine's Walters Renovations.
Oh my gosh.
The plural. That's like
every time I type out my email, it's like, okay,
landscapes.
I just do the whole thing now.
Yeah.
Because every time I'm like Rising Tide, singular, landscapes, plural. Oh, Rising Tide landscapes?
Rising Tides landscape?
I mean,
it's like there's not more than one tide.
Maybe I should have done better.
Tide.
I think we're going to shorten it to RTL.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Dude, 3-letter. Think about AFT construction, TO, like everybody is a 3-letter acronym.
Yeah. When I go into pools, would be RTL pools.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, sir.
But yeah, hit up you guys and then hit up me if you want to build
build cool stuff.
Anything cool and epic and you have $1 million budget.
And we'll be good. Maybe if you want to call us both out, we'll both bid the job and then it has to come down to a coin flip.
Okay. Deal.
Okay, cool. All right. Thanks, man.
Deal. Right on.